What is going on, everybody? It's Wyvern here. I haven't uploaded in about a week, and if you follow me on Twitter, you'll know that's because I'm moving back down to Atlanta, Georgia for school for the next year. So I was in the process of packing, moving, unpacking, and now that I'm finally settled back in Atlanta, I wanted to get back on an uploading spree, so I'm hoping to have some more regular content, and I'm hoping to actually be able to get a face cam going. I'll have a decent spot to be able to record at. It's just a matter of how the quality turns out. But without further ado, guys, let's dive right into today's video, and that is going to be talking about the Kingdom Cup meta. Now, Kingdom Cup was a very specific meta where it kind of revolved around Lapras, Lucario, Altaria, and Bastiodon. There were some Steelixes in there, but it was pretty much those top four, and in my Kingdom Cup, I pretty much only used Altaria, Bastiodon, and Lucario, and I had success with that. So it's almost like a rock, paper, scissors game similarly to Nightmare Cup. And looking at the rankings, I honestly was not sure why any of the Pokemon were ranked inside the top like 10, 15. Because after those top 4 or 5 that I mentioned, there's kind of just a drop-off. I mean, Blaziken can get some play now that there's Blaze Kick, but there's really not any good off-meta options, and I was really struggling with this one. But I finally decided to settle on Garchomp for my off-meta pick for the Kingdom Cup. I did some matches with him and overall was pleased with the success. I did some training matches on PvPoke and was not pleased with the success. So I went and did some more matches, I recorded those, and was still pleased with the success in actual matches against actual people. Now, I'm not saying the training for PvPoke is bad, because it's amazing. It's what helped me win my Tempest Cup, was the training feature on that. But for some reason, Garchomp against real people works a lot better for me than in the training on PvPoke. So we're going to look today at why is it ranked 10th, because that seems really high for it. The moveset you're going to want on it is going to be Mud Shot as that fast move, and then you're going to want Earthquake and Outrage. Now, it's kind of a niche Pokemon. It's really only going to take out Bastiodon, Probopass, and Bronzong. It's going to lose to some of the Pokemon you would expect it to beat, like Lucario and Blaziken, because ground is good on them, but it's just a pretty glassy Pokemon. It's only going to win 41% of its matchups. It's going to tie Steelix. However, it's going to lose hard to Altaria and any Ice type, so it's a very situational Pokemon, but it still has a very strong attack stat, and even in neutral or negative matchups, which you'll see in some of the videos, it can be a very strong Pokemon. So let's dive right into the battles, guys, and see how Garchomp performs in the Kingdom Cup. So for this first matchup, I'm going to lead Lucario. It's a very strong Pokemon in the Kingdom Cup, and it has a very strong attack, especially with Power Up Punch. So I really liked it as a lead, and sure enough, here we get the positive lead against Lapras. So we're going to be ready for him to switch out, and we do see it there. We see the Magcargo come in, and in a Garchomp video, that's where, if I was in my right mind, I would have subbed to Garchomp just to see how it does, but I decided to farm with the Lucario instead, because apparently I think this is a Lucario video, not a Garchomp video. We already know Lucario does amazing in the Kingdom Cup, and I was dumb for sticking in there, so we're going to see what he switches in with. It ends up being his Lucario as well, and this is one that we're able to farm to. We decide to go for the Power Up Punch, just because we can, and at this point I know what his team is, and I know Lucario is going to be able to wipe it all out, so we're gonna try and switch into Garchomp there just to get some action for him, but he's able to get to his Power Up Punch first. We'll let our Lucario go down. My bad, we're gonna shield, and then we're gonna bring the Garchomp in, and you just see how much it does there. Like, I know it's powered up, but still the counters are just doing a good chunk of damage to the Garchomp before he was even able to finish off that Lucario that was already in the orange or red, regardless. So we have to shield there to keep the Garchomp alive. And here's where you're going to see the power of Garchomp, I believe. It might be in the next matchup, but we're going to go ahead and go for the Earthquake. Water Gun definitely does a good bit of damage, but it's not amazing on Garchomp. You're definitely going to lose it. But there we see the Earthquake hitting a 4 times resistant Lapras and doing a massive chunk of damage. Unfortunately, oh, we do get to another Earthquake. Okay. So yeah, we get to another Earthquake, and we're going to force the shield. I mean, it's practically a loss for him at this point, but you're just able to see how much damage Garchomp is able to do, even at neutral or not very effective. So we're just going to come in with the Lucario and finish off this matchup. We're going to go straight for the Power Up Punch just to prevent him getting off any sort of charge move whatsoever, since we're out of shields. But that's going to finish it up for us. We do lag here just a little bit. I think we're able to get it off, though, at some point. Yeah, there it goes. So let's dive into the second matchup, guys, and see how Garchomp continues to do. So for this matchup, we're going to lead with Garchomp just because I felt dumb for not switching it in against the Magcargo. I wanted to get it some real playtime this time around. However, we see that Lapras lead, and it ends up not working out for us. So we know that our mud shots aren't doing a ton of damage, but we also know we can take a couple water guns. So we're gonna pull up that switch, charge up to Earthquake, and try and switch out. Aren't able to get it the first time, but we are the second time. Now we're gonna come in with the Lucario, have those counters hitting super effective. And here's where I'm trying to remember all of Lapras's moves since it has so many, and I decided to shield last second just because the Lucario is a pretty glassy Pokemon, and it's really my only chance against that Lapras. We want to keep it alive. And now we're gonna go for the Shadow Ball. Hopefully he doesn't think we've charged up enough energy for it or doesn't know we have 2 moves or something like that, but we're gonna try and catch him off guard here, make him think it's a power-up punch, and it ends up working out in our favor. So now we're gonna see what he brings in, and it ends up being that Lapras again. So now we are really starting to question what he has in the back, because if he brought the Lapras in against the Lucario, I'm really not sure what it is. We're just gonna go straight for the Shadow Ball here because we have very little health. Really anything would finish us off since Lucario is weak, so we're going to go for the Shadow Ball. And we do get that shield out of him there, so that's good because remember we had that Earthquake on the Garchomp as well. So we're going to try and switch there. Switch timer not quite up, but now we're able to come in with the Garchomp and we're going to go straight for the Earthquake. Unfortunately, he does have a shield, but we pretty much know this would wipe him out anyway, so it's not like we need a test to the Earthquake or anything. But now we're going to see how much these mud shots are doing to him, and it's actually not that much. I'm legitimately concerned for Garchomp's health here, which is kind of pitiful against a Magcargo. So it just kind of shows Garchomp is a very situational Pokemon. He destroys Bastiodon and Probopass, like I said. He's going to beat Bronzong pretty handily. He's going to tie Steelix, so even a lot of those Steel types that he should be beating, he's not necessarily blowing them out of the water. We're going to go for the Earthquake there just to make sure we're able to take it out, and we do, so we're going to take this match. Let's hop on over to Game 3. So for Game 3, I started recording a little bit late, so I missed the toss-out animation, but we do lead with Bronzong here. He leads with Alolan Marowak, so it's an interesting matchup, and we see how much damage those Confusions are doing, even resisted. We're going to switch into Garchomp here just to try and tank whatever charge move he's throwing at us. Ultimately, I do decide to shield. We probably could have tanked the Bone Club though, but we are going to go right at that Alolan Marowak with the super effective Mud Shot that is definitely chipping away at its health, and we have an Earthquake charged up, so we're going to go straight for that when the Lapras comes in. And we know how much damage this is going to do to a Lapras. Unfortunately, he knows as well, so he's going to go ahead and shield that one. Now we have this negative matchup of Lapras versus Garchomp that we seem to be having every matchup. Regardless, we're going to overcharge a little bit here, try and throw him off guard, maybe make him think we're going for an Outrage or something. But regardless, we do end up going for that Earthquake because we don't have Outrage on Garchomp. So we get the Excellent on that, and we do get that second shield out of him. However, we are not able to get to a second Earthquake before he is able to finish us off. Now we're going to come in with the Bronzong because we want to be able to tank whatever charge move he's throwing at us. He got quite a bit of energy off the Water Gun, and now that he's down to 0 shields, I want to be able to hit it with that Flash Cannon as well if we need to. We charged up a bit of energy on the Alolan Marowak, and I know that I'm able to tank that Blizzard. Even not very effective, it definitely does a good chunk. We're going to go for the Flash Cannon, and he timed that switch perfectly. That was a very good switch. That Alolan Marowak would have been hitting us with super effective, but now that we know that he just used his switch, so he's going to be switch locked, we're able to come in with the Lucario to finish off the Lapras. We're going to go for the power-up punch just to try and get a boost on our counters before he comes in with his last Pokemon, which ends up being a Bastiodon. So unfortunately, we weren't able to see Garchomp versus Bastiodon, and we all know how Lucario versus Bastiodon plays out. So we hit it with the powered-up counters, then we're able to get the power-up punch off, so that's pretty much just going to finish up this match for us. End up winning this one, go 3-0. My final opinion on Garchomp after doing all the research and practice with it is this. I think it's a good Pokemon. I don't think it's the best for PvP. I was able to use it well situationally in Tempest practice and different matchups like that. Never used it in my Tempest tournament. As far as Kingdom goes, I don't think it would ever be able to become a meta Pokemon just because it's easily counterable. I think its only strength lies in the fact that nobody has seen it played, so nobody would know how to deal with it aside from maybe bring a Lapras against it. But we saw how those Lapras versus Garchomp matchups can go if your opponent isn't careful with the shields. So I would really only use it as a surprise off-meta pick. Like I said, it's very situational. You probably don't want to lead with it and get locked in a bad matchup or end up switching and ended up getting switch locked. So I would say if you have one, you could use it just because, like I said, those top 4 Pokemon, maybe 5 if you include Blaziken, you could bring it as that 5th or 6th Pokemon depending on what all you're bringing, if nothing else, just to throw your opponent off. So I think it's definitely worth considering for Kingdom Cup, and if I end up doing a Kingdom Cup team, or a Kingdom Cup Mirror Cup rather, I do believe it will end up on my team. But anyways, guys, that is going to wrap it up for today's video. Thank you so much for checking it out. Please be sure to like and subscribe if you are looking for more PvP content. Until next time, guys, I'm Wyvern.